guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today I wanted to talk about entry-level watches. Not entry-level watches in general, but entry-level watches for certain brands. There are a few brands where they're entry-level and their normal production or their higher-end production, there's a great space in quality. But there's other brands where their entry-level offerings, which are priced significantly lower than their other offerings, still give you all the brand DNA and quality. And I thought that would be an interesting thing to talk about today. But of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing the Rolex Hulk. The bad boy makes another appearance, and actually with the light shining on it right now, it's super green. Man, I love this watch. And also, go take a look at DelReyWatch.com. We genuinely got in a bunch of very interesting pieces the other day. Some very high horology pieces, Harry Winston, a few limited edition AP, got a Parmigiani, and we also got some much more affordable watches, including a beautiful Frédéric Constant Moonphase. And we also moved some stuff to the hot deal section where you can pick up our pieces heavily discounted. Go check out DelReyWatch.com, a bunch of pieces I'm sure you guys haven't seen yet. Link in the description below. So yeah, anyway guys, you know, a lot of brands, they have their entry-level pieces, then they have their normal production, they have their special pieces. And there's a lot of brands that still give you very high quality and all the qualities of that brand in the entry level. And there's other brands which are notorious for doing the opposite. Brands like IWC, Cartier, Tag Heuer, brands that, you know, they do make good watches, but their entry level pieces aren't quite up to snuff with their regular production. So today I want to talk about the opposite. I want to talk about 5 watches made by 5 brands where you can pick them up for a relative bargain. You know, these watches are still expensive, but they're entry-level for the brand, but you still get most of, if not all, of the quality the brand is known for. And these are in no particular order. The first one I want to talk about is the JaegerLeCoultre Master Control Sector Dial. What can we say? One of the most popular Jaegers of the past couple of years, one of my favorite watches of all time. Absolutely beautiful. This is one of their entry-level pieces, the Master Control Date. They also make it without the sector dial. But here you still got the Jaeger in-house caliber with the solid gold rotor. You get an alligator strap, a clear case back. Yes, the case is all one polish, I believe, so not a lot of cost went into finishing. And in the sector dial, the dial is printed, not applied. So I actually like that because aesthetically it looks great, but it is a more inexpensive way to manufacture it. However, you get, as I said, the fully in-house Jaeger movement that still comes with the gold rotor. A fully fledged JLC, the master watchmaker of watchmakers, for, thousands less than a Reverso or a Master Control Ultra Thin. Price point, it's in the 5s, I believe, the 4,000 or 5,000 mark pre-owned. However, a lot of the Jaeger's line is significantly more expensive, and here you still get that quality. Next is one of the most popular, or the most popular brand, and that is Rolex. And we're talking about their Oyster Perpetual 39. Well, here you still get the 39mm case, very similar to the Explorer. You get the 914L stainless steel. Rolex's same movement. However, the finishing is equally the same sapphire crystal. Everything is the same. The only thing I kind of noticed is the inside of the clasp is finished without as much detail as in like the subs. However, here you get an Oyster Perpetual with the same movement, the same materials, the same depth rating, and actually looks almost identical to the Explorer, but you even get more color options here. You get the grape dial, the blue dial, the gray dial, and a lot of people, back in the day, the OP, the Oyster Perpetual, was considered kind of the baby Rolex. Nowadays, not so much. I know a lot of people that prefer the Oyster Perpetual to, say, an Explorer or an Air King or even a Sub. I think it's the jovial Rolex. It's a Rolex with a little bit of flair, and once again, significantly less expensive. These can be picked up in the fours if you look around hard enough, and I think it is a killer deal for somebody that wants a Rolex but doesn't want to spend the $6,000 or $8,000-$9,000 of an Explorer or a Submariner. Now we have a less expensive watch, but a watch I actually really adore, and that is the Oris Divers 65. Here we have a vintage style diver powered by a Sellita movement, made by Oris, one of the best entry-level luxury brands in my opinion. Well, what do we get here? Well, you don't get the 300-meter water resistance, you only get 100 meters, but you still get a dive watch in stainless steel with a rotating bezel on a bracelet. Yes, the bracelet is a little bit flimsy and the bezel is a little bit old-fashioned, but that's part of the charm because this is a remake of a watch from 1965, which also happens to work well with the price point because it's less expensive to produce. Standard Sellita SW200. Nothing super fancy, but for under $1,000, I think the quality of this Oris is comparable to a lot of their other lines, like the Arctics or the entry-level Aquises. Absolutely. I mean, the Diver 65 is probably the most charming Oris, along with the Aquis. I like the Aquis. One of the most charming Orises, and the quality is still there. Not as tough as the Aquis, but it's not supposed to be because it is a vintage reissue, and it has some of those vintage qualities. Now we have, actually I just noticed this is 6 watches, not 5. Now we have the Omega Seamaster Professional, the wave dial. Well, what can we say here? It's got the new, this model was updated with the coaxial movement. It's no longer the caliber 2500. Helium escape valve, ceramic bezel, one of the most comfortable bracelets in the business. But, at around $4,000 pre-owned, significantly less expensive than a lot of their Planet Ocean line, their Ploprof line. Yes, this isn't strictly entry-level because Omega does make cheaper watches, but this is on the cheaper end of their gamut, and I do think all the quality is there. And this is probably their most iconic watch behind the Speedmaster, where, even though it's one of their least expensive, it is one of their most loved. And I can totally see why, because this watch just oozes quality. One of the best dive watches, premium dive watches for the money, absolutely. Now we have a rare instance where the entry level of a brand is actually the most popular, or one of the most popular of that brand. And we're going to go with FP Journe and their Chronomètre Bleu. 39 millimeters, case made out of tantalum, beautiful blue dial, manual wind movement, and the same movement that is in their higher end Chronomètre Sevran lines. Yes, missing the power reserve indicator. The case is not made out of gold, but it's made out of tantalum. But here you're getting exquisite materials, the same strap, same movement decoration. Okay, it's not necessarily a noble metal like gold, but tantalum is very unique and one of the most beautiful dials in the business. This watch sells for well above retail, and even though less expensive than its platinum and rose gold brothers, it is much more desirable, and in the secondary market is actually more expensive. So here we have an entry level which surpasses its more expensive brethren. That's kind of funny. And then last, and I think probably the best example of this for a brand and a watch, is the Lange Saxonia. Lange Saxonia, one of the most supremely beautifully finished movements. A lot of care goes into making the watches, and this is the entry-level, line. You can get these probably in the low teens or even less, around 11, 12,000, and the exact same level of finishing goes into this than in their $500,000 tourbillons. You still have hand-engraved balance cocks, movements made out of German silver, same strap quality, same precious metal. You know, yes, the movement is simpler and the watch is smaller, but the level of detail is exactly the same. You still get the Lange patented double construction where they build the watch twice. They put it together, they test it, they take it apart, and they put it together again. There is literally no difference between the construction of their entry-level piece and their most expensive piece, apart from maybe amount of movement parts and complication, but the quality and attention to detail is not cut in the slightest. And this is rare even for the other competitors on this list. But Lange, the Saxonia, awesome, awesome watch. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video entertaining. 6 entry-level watches for their brands where there, you know, isn't much of a difference between their higher-end brethren. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It really does help, and it shows your support for the channel and lets me know if I'm making content that you guys are enjoying. And also, please don't forget to subscribe. That way you don't miss any more of that content. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.